friends, I am giving up on several popular authors unless you talk me out of it. I am doing a major unhaul project. Unhaul, declutter. So it's going to be books and other things that I have in my house. But what you care about is books, right? There are some popular authors that I think I'm just going to give up on. I've either read theirs and not loved them, hated some of them, or I've tried them and it just wasn't working for me. Their writing style didn't work for me. And then others I've just heard enough bad things about a book or something that I just don't want to waste time reading books I'm not going to love. I'm going to save one of the most controversial ones for the end. The first two are really, actually the first three. I was hanging on to them because they were my mother's books. My mother was kind of the instigator, if you will, of my book loving collecting habit. Side note, my dad was the instigator of my animal habit, but we'll talk about that another day. For my mom, we kind of bonded over our shared love of reading. I have memories when I was younger. My sister was a ballet dancer, and so we were either in the car going to pick up my sister, sitting at performances, because my mom would always be the parent who would help, but my dad traveled a lot during the week for work, so I just had to go along. And I would always have a book with me, and my mom and I used to go to the library. That was our thing. We loved to go to the library together. When she died, so she was in her 80s when she died, and she had gotten to where audiobooks worked better for her. And she had gotten rid of a lot of her books. I do have a few left that I've kind of been hanging on to, but I don't really think I'm gonna read them. They're not really my genre. Mom was kind of more into romance books than I am. I've tried some this year and have found some authors that I really like, some that I'm probably not going to read again. I might keep this. Y'all tell me. This is Nora Roberts' Starlit Winter Nights. Is this a good holiday read? I don't know. I just haven't enjoyed. There's maybe one Nora Roberts that I read that I was like, oh my gosh, this is a really good book. I've tried others, but for me, I think if I'm in the mood for something like a Nora Roberts, I will much more likely listen to it on audio than read a physical copy. So what's the point of holding on to the physical books? But in this whole project, the whole video, when we get to the end of the video, if there's any books or authors that I mention that you think I'm making a mistake, let me know in the comments. Be nice about it, but let me know in the comments, and I may rethink it. So Nora Roberts, Starlit Winter Nights. This is the holidays in Cordelia are always laced with romance and mystery. Ever the ladies' man, Prince Bennett of Cordelia, has always happily lived up to his public reputation with an element of recklessness. When a distant relative, Lady Hannah Rothschild, arrives in Cordelia as a hired companion to his sister, Bennett couldn't be less interested in his modic academic cousin. Still, he sees something of a challenge in this lovely stranger. And then over Christmas, they probably fall in love. I don't know about that one. This one is The Witness. Elizabeth Finch's short-lived teenage rebellion began with L'Oreal Pure Black, a pair of scissors, and a fake ID. It ended in blood. Daughter of a cold, controlling mother and an anonymous donor, studious, obedient Elizabeth finally let loose one night, drinking too much at a nightclub and allowing a strange man's seductive Russian accent to lure her to a house on Lakeshore Drive. The events that followed changed her life forever. 12 years later, the woman now known as Abigail Lowry lives alone on the outskirts of a small town in the Ozarks. A freelance programmer, she works at home designing sophisticated security systems. Her own security is supplemented by a fierce dog and an assortment of firearms. She keeps to herself, saying little, revealing nothing. Unfortunately, that seems to be the quickest way to get attention in a small town. This sounded like the one that I read by her that I liked. And I'm trying to, let's see, what was the one? I think it was The Search. The Search was the one that I read by Nora Roberts and really liked this. And I know I've got some booktube friends out there that really like Nora Roberts. So let me know if you think I should hold off on getting rid of those. This next one is a local author to me, and I'm sad to say I have not really gotten into her works. This is Mary K. Andrews' Beach Town. This is a signed copy that I got every time. Mabel has to do that. I got from my mom. And look, she was even reading it when she passed away. Yeah, Mary K. Andrews lives a couple streets over. And like local author, but proximity to the author does not mean that I enjoy the novels. And like I said, this type of women's literature, women's fiction, I hate the term chick lit, but women's literature, this for me is best done on audio. So if I'm going to if I'm gonna read it, I'm probably gonna do it on audio. And right now it's taking up space on my very crowded bookshelf. So this one, Greer Hennessy Needs Palm Trees. As a movie location scout, Picture Perfect is the name of the game, but her last project literally went up in flames and her career is on the verge of flaming out. Greer has been given one more chance if she can find the perfect, undiscovered beach highway for a big budget movie. She zeroes in on a sleepy Florida town called Cypress Key. There's one motel, a marina, a long stretch of pristine beach, and an old fishing pier with a community casino, which will be perfect for the film's explosive climax. There's just one problem. Eben Thibodeau, the town's mayor, completely objects to Greer's plan. A lifelong resident of Cypress Key, Eben wants the town to be revitalized, not commercialized. After a toxic paper plant closed, the bay has only recently been reborn, and Ebb has no intention of letting anybody screw with his town again. But Greer has a way of making things happen regardless of obstacles. And Greer and Ebb are way too attracted to each other for either of them to see reason. Yeah, so that, I mean, it sounds like an interesting premise. Again, I think I would probably consume something like that on audio. And then this one, Danielle Steele, The Wedding. I think I got this for my mom because The Wedding is was her favorite book. And then when I get home, she said, Michelle, it's not Danielle Steele's The Wedding. I think it's Julie Garwood's The Wedding. So I have this book by Danielle Steele. sitting on my shelves, which I'm probably never going to read. This is her 48th best-selling novel. A holiday wedding sets the scene for a vivid portrayal of a prominent family whose hopes and fears are as real as our own. Yeah. All right. The next author I think I'm giving up on is Leanne Moriarty. This is the Hypnotist love story. So again, I feel like this is the type of thing that I would consume on audiobook. I have read another book by her. I think it's The Husband's Secret. And it was good. I mean, it wasn't a bad read. I just have not, The Husband's Secret. I just haven't gone for this, and like I don't reach for it at any point. And I've had it on my shelves for a while. So do I keep it on my shelves? Do I not? Ellen O'Farrell is a professional hypnotherapist who works out of the eccentric beachfront home she inherited from her grandparents. It's a nice life, except for her tumultuous relationship history. She's stoic about it, but at this point, Ellen wouldn't mind something long-term. When she meets Patrick, she's optimistic. He's attractive, single, employed, and best of all, he seems to like her back. Then comes the dreaded moment. He thinks they should have a talk. Braced for the worst, Ellen is pleasantly surprised. It turns out that Patrick's ex-girlfriend is stalking him. Ellen thinks, actually, that's kind of interesting. She's dating someone worth stalking. She's intrigued by the woman's motives. In fact, she'd even love to meet her. Ellen doesn't know it, but she already has. Okay, that sounds like not something I want to read. It's not cool to stalk people. I'm just saying. The next one is an author that, I don't know, I've loved one of her works, and I did not like, I DNF'd another of hers after reading more than half of it. And that's Lauren Groff. I just don't think her stories are for me. This is Fates and Furies. So I read Florida, which I think was a short story collection, and I liked it. I have no memory of what it was about because I read it a while ago. And then I just recently read, or tried to read, The Matrix. I just didn't like the story. And I think I read at least half of it and DNF'd it. So this one is an exhilarating portrait of one extraordinary couple over the course of 24 years. Fates and Furies is a landmark novel about marriage, creativity, power, and perception. I mean, I don't know. I don't really think I've had that book for a number of years. I've at least moved once with it, and it's just not calling to me. This is Manhattan Beach by Jennifer Egan. I tried to read A Visit from the Goon Squad, and I think I DNF'd it. I just couldn't get it. I couldn't get into it. It wasn't anything specific. It was just couldn't get into it. So does that mean that her writing style is just not for me? I've had this for a while too, and just haven't reached for it. Anna Kerrigan, nearly 12 years old, accompanies her father to visit Dexter Stiles, a man who, she gleans, is crucial to the survival of her family. She is mesmerized by the sea beyond the house and by some charged mystery between the two men. Years later, her father has disappeared and the country is at war. Anna works at the Brooklyn Naval Yard as the first female diver, the most dangerous and exclusive of occupations. there's a sticker here that I cannot read. Oh, maybe I can get it off. So this one says, Anna Kerrigan, nearly 12 years old, accompanies her father to visit Dexter Stiles, a man who she gleans is crucial to the survival of her family. She is mesmerized by the sea beyond the house and by some charged mystery between the two men. Years later, her father has disappeared and the country is at war. Anna works at the Brooklyn Naval Yard as the first female diver, the most dangerous and exclusive of occupations, repairing the ships that will help America win the war. One evening at a nightclub, she meets Dexter Stiles again and begins to understand the complexity of her father's life, the reasons he might have vanished. It calls it a noir thriller, so I might keep this one. I don't know. Maybe I'll try it and see. Okay, so that's a maybe. Y'all help me figure out a maybe. This one should be no surprise if you've watched my channel. Alex Michaelides. I just have not enjoyed his books. I've read The Maidens was okay. It wasn't anything fascinating. It also, I don't know, there were some issues that I had with the psychologist in it, which is probably because I work with a bunch of psychologists. The Fury I read and did not like it whatsoever. I just didn't like the story. I just didn't like it. I've heard The Silent Patient is his favorite, or his favorite, y'all's favorite. No. People who like him, it's their favorite. I'm just not interested in Alex Michaelides anymore. Which everyone, there's an author for everyone. Everyone can find an author? Something like that. So this next one, I've given her previous books, some of them 4 stars, some of them 3 stars. But the last one I read, I think it felt like a slog to get through. So it's kind of left a bad taste for this author. And do I want to pick her up? I really don't. This is Diane Chamberlain. Do I want to keep reading her? This is The Secret Life of Cece Wilkes. 1977, pregnant Genevieve Russell disappeared. 20 years later, her remains are discovered and Timothy Gleason is charged with murder, but there's no sign of the unborn child. Cece Wilkes knows how Genevieve Russell died because she was there. And she also knows what happened to the missing infant because 2 decades ago, she made the devastating choice to raise the baby as her own. Now, Timothy Gleason is facing the death penalty, and she has another choice to make. Tell the truth and destroy her family, or let an innocent man die in order to protect a lifetime of lies. This reminds me of, is it The Memory Keeper's Daughter by Kim Edwards? I don't know why, but anytime I read the premise on this one, that's what comes to mind. I know there are a lot of Diane Chamberlain fans out there. I don't feel about Diane the same way I feel about Alex Michaelides, but about their writing. So I don't know about this one either. I'm just not drawn to it, and I've had it for years. This one, so I recently read Empire Falls by Richard Russo, and I liked it okay. It was a 3-star, I think. Yeah, I think it was a 3-star. I have Nobody's Fool on my shelves. And honestly, the synopsis sounds the same. Not the same, but a similar idea to Empire Falls. So I'm really not interested in picking it up because this was a big book and it took me a while to get through, but do I really want to read another big book like that? I'm just not And this is the start of a series, Nobody's Fool. Just not calling to me, but y'all can change my mind. Okay, this is one of the controversial ones. I've read enough of her work. I'm a big fan of her as, like, follow her on social media, and I really enjoy things she says. I think we have similar values and ideas. I just haven't loved her writing. I've loved one of her books, and it's one of her more recent books. I have not liked her backlist books. So should I get rid of the backlist books? Should I get rid of all of them? But yeah, I'm talking about Jodi Picoult. I just don't know. So I've read Mercy, which I really didn't like. I've heard not great things about some of the backlist books and how disability is dealt with. So do I get rid of just the backlist books? I think this is her first book. Is this her first book? This is Songs of the Humpback Whale. It's about an emotionally charged marriage that changes course in one explosive moment. For years, Jane Jones has lived in the shadow of her husband, renowned San Diego oceanographer Oliver Jones. But during an escalating argument, Jane turns on him with an alarming volatility. In anger and fear, she leaves their teenage daughter Rebecca for a cross-country odyssey charted by letters from her brother Jolie, guiding them to his Massachusetts apple farm where surprising self-discoveries await. Now Oliver, an expert at tracking humpback whales across vast oceans, will search for his wife across the continent and find a new way to see the world, his family, and himself through her eyes. I don't know. So the next one is a banned book in many places, and that makes me want to read it. But it's a Jodi Picoult backlist, so do I want to read it? That is 19 Minutes. It's a pretty thick book. So do I want to spend 441 pages reading this? In 19 minutes, you can mow the front lawn, color your hair, watch a third of a hockey game. In 19 minutes, you can bake scones or get a tooth filled by a dentist. You can fold laundry for a family of 5. In 19 minutes, you can stop the world or you can just jump off it. In 19 minutes, you can get revenge. So I know that this is it's an important topic. School shootings in the U.S. are at a ridiculous rate and nothing's done about it. Do I want to read this by an author that I haven't loved their backlist stuff, or as someone whose family members work in schools? I mean, I don't know. Y'all let me know, because I know we've got some Jodi Picoult fans out there. And then this is one of her more recent books, and this is the one that I thought about hanging on to because, like I said, I really liked her book. What's it called? It's called, of course, it's not on here. It must have been published after this one. It was Wish You Were Here. Is that what it's called? I don't know. If I'll put the title down below if it wasn't Wish You Were Here. But this is The Book of Two Ways. Let's see. Everything changes in a single moment for Dawn Edelstein. She's on a plane when the flight attendant makes an announcement. Prepare for a crash landing. She braces herself as thoughts flash through her mind. The shocking thing is, the thoughts are not of her husband, but of a man she last saw 15 years ago, Wyatt Armstrong. Dawn miraculously survives the crash, but so do all the doubts that have suddenly been raised. She has led a good life. Back in Boston, there's her husband, their daughter, her work as a death doula, in which she helps ease the transition between life and death for her clients. But somewhere in Egypt is Wyatt Armstrong, who works as an archaeologist unearthing ancient burial sites, a career that Dawn once studied but was forced to abandon when life suddenly intervened. And now, when it seems that fate has offering her second chances, she's not sure of the choice she once made. I just don't know. Another thick book by an author I'm just not sure about. So the other one that I think I'm giving up on is off my classic shelf. And I've been thinking about this for a while, but I think I'm just going to do it. And again, if I change my mind on any of these, I can either get the audiobook or go to the library, but I'm not going to keep them on my shelves. And that's Charles Dickens. I have Oliver Twist and Great Expectations. I read The Christmas Carol. And I think I've read, so I read A Tale of Two Cities in school, and I think I liked that one. I have no memory of it. But it's on Goodreads, and it's rated high. So if I'm going to read Dickens, maybe I'll revisit Tale of Two Cities, but I didn't even keep my copy of A Tale of Two Cities. Not that I know of, unless it's somewhere I don't know where it is, but yeah. So Oliver Twist, Great Expectations, I'm getting rid of him. All right, so those are the authors that I think I'm going to give up on, that have been on my shelves for a long time, and I never go for them. And as you can see, I've got plenty more to read. Let me know in the comments, do you like any of these authors? Do you want me to give them a second chance? I'm open to doing try chapters, but for the most part, these are the authors that I'm going to unhaul. What popular authors do you not read? Are there any? I really appreciate you being here. If you'd like to support my channel, please hit the subscribe button, and I will see you all very soon. Bye.